Maryland, where dozens of people have gathered to demand an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, where over 8,000 Palestinians have been killed and over 1,400 Israelis have been killed during the Hamas attack on October 7th.
Yeah, looking cat.
There's several people here we're going to speak with, but I'm with Dr. Lawrence Brown, who many Real News viewers, readers, and watchers know. Dr. Brown, how are you doing? And tell us why you're here today.
Doing all right. Here today basically to call and support the call for a ceasefire. I feel like this, as an American, to have our country supporting a state that's imposing apartheid is hard to swallow. You know, I don't like it, urban apartheid here at home. I don't like it overseas. So that's why I'm here to support ceasefire and make sure that innocent people who have nothing to do with this conflict are really protected.
And what I've found interesting at previous rallies where people are making that comparison. There's growing awareness of how oppression in Baltimore and in Palestine, and you're someone that coined the term apartheid and the black butterfly and the white owl to describe segregation and institutional oppression in place and other mechanisms, and that's something that's the reality of the Palestinians is becoming more. There's great, increasing awareness of that as well. And so, can you talk a little bit more about what you mean by apartheid and those parallels?
Yeah, I mean, I think whenever a dominant group of people impose spatial restrictions on another group of people, whether it's a reservation, whether it's a ghetto, whether it's the West Bank, wherever you concentrate people and shove them into a small space, and then you restrict resources, that's devastating. That's devastating on a community-wide level. And I think the other thing, actually it's in a sense community punishment. And I think that's actually what this war represents. The entire Palestinian people are being punished for the actions of a small group of people. So this collective punishment, I think, is a part of what apartheid means and sort of represents, and that sort of spatial concentration and then the economic deprivation. That's what I mean when I talk about apartheid.
And we've seen that people that are facing oppression will fight back and they will resist, and it's happening in Baltimore and it's happening in Palestine. People are really seeing those parallels.
Absolutely. And I have to say, I'm with Frederick Douglass, who said no war but an abolition war, no peace but an abolition peace. So there are wars, I believe, that need to be fought, wars for abolition, but even in war, I think there are rules of war. So me personally, I'm hurt for anybody in Israel and Palestine that's experiencing violence as a result of this long-standing conflict. But I think that overall, when you have spatial apartheid being imposed, then that's not an abolition peace. And so I think we do have to be very careful and concerned about people whose lives are on the line and are being punished collectively for the actions of a small group of people.
Thank you so much. We'll catch up with you throughout this march and hear from you later as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So again, we are live in Baltimore, Maryland, where dozens of people have gathered to protest.
We need a march.
Gaza and to call for a
we went to
ceasefire.
Congressman's office.
Taking a look at some of the signs people are holding. And we'll talk to some of the people. Can we see your sign, please? Can you talk a little bit about why you're here and what your sign means?
Yeah, well, I am here in solidarity with all of the innocent people, innocent Israelis, innocent Palestinians who've been pulled into this and subjected to so much degradation and suffering and inhumanity, and I'm against inhumanity. So
thank you so much. Would you mind sharing your sign?
Yeah.
Would you mind talking about your sign? This is for the Real News Network.
Word. Well, this was given to me by the organizers. But yeah, I'm here in solidarity with Palestinians. I think it's absolute bullshit that our tax dollars are going towards actual genocide and just colonization and displacement, actual war crimes, instead of like helping those people or helping people here in America.
Thank you so much.
Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free! From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free! The people united will never be defeated! 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 Free, free Palestine! 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 Can we get folks in the back to come a little closer so you can hear the speaker? Break the wind down!
About to be speaking.
Oh. Okay, try.
Yeah. I'm speaking to you.
Here, who's this?
I am speaking. I'm speaking to you today as an American Jew. On behalf of If Not Now, I thank you for allowing me to stand in solidarity with all of you as we demand a ceasefire and an end to the U.S. government's complicity in the Israeli government's genocide of the Palestinian people. As Jews, we must declare that we will not allow our grief to be weaponized against the people of Palestine. If Not Now is a movement of Jews in the U.S. and in Israel-Palestine, and our allies and accomplices of all races and faiths, working in coalition to end the Israeli occupation of Palestine and to dismantle Israeli apartheid. We need you, we need everyone, in order to stop the atrocities we have seen day in and day out for the last few weeks and for decades before that. We at If Not Now Baltimore are so proud to be here alongside our fellow Jews and in solidarity with our Palestinian and Black comrades. We are grateful to be speaking out with Ujima People's Party, Baltimore Palestine Solidarity, Jewish Voice for Peace, and so many neighbors and allies. From Baltimore to Palestine, we stand against apartheid, perpetrated by IDF soldiers in Israel-Palestine and by IDF-trained Baltimore police here at home. From Baltimore to Palestine, we know that apartheid without resistance by the people can and does lead to genocide. We keep us safe.
Who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe.
Who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe.
Who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe. If Not Now was founded during the 2014 Gaza war by Jewish organizers who came together in response to the IDF's horrific massacre of Palestinian people. We have worked in coalition since then, guided by the following principles. We are organizing our community to demand equality, justice, and a thriving future for all Palestinians and Israelis. We organize our people. We organize against white supremacy and all forms of racism. We cannot do this alone. We unite through shared values. We are the Jewish future. We ground in history and the lived experience of Jews and Palestinians. We participate in the Jewish practice of teshuvah, repentance. We show up for ourselves. We trust and support each other to take leadership. If Not Now is a nonviolent movement, and we are all here today as such. We take care of ourselves and each other. We believe that we will win. These principles guided us on Monday night at the monument in Mount Vernon, where many of you joined us, Jews and Palestinians, Black and other Muslim comrades, saying the Mourner's Kaddish and Al-Fatiha for the thousands who have fallen in this war. I am so proud of my comrades in Jewish Voice for Peace, many of whom also organize with If Not Now, for your righteous action since the 10/7 war erupted. Y'all shut down Grand Central Station last Saturday. That was the largest sit-in act of civil disobedience in New York City in 2 decades. The week before that, JVP, you led us as we worked together to shut down the Cannon Rotunda on Capitol Hill to demand an immediate ceasefire and an end to ethnic cleansing in Gaza and all of Palestine. And If Not Now was proud to lead us as we blocked every entrance to the White House and demand Joe Biden stop weaponizing our grief to justify the slaughter of innocent children. We are devastated by Hamas atrocities against Israelis and further horrified by the ways Israeli militarism is destroying Palestinian lives and families. Tomorrow, Congress will vote on a $14 billion military aid package to the Israeli apartheid regime. We say, not another nickel, not another dime, no more aid for genocide!
Not another nickel! Not another dime!
No more aid for genocide!
Not a nickel, not a dime! Not a man!
We mourn all of the fallen, and for every life lost, we say, as the Jewish people always have, Baruch Dayan Ha'emet, blessed is the true judge. We know as Jews that all children are created B'Tselem Elohim, in the image of the divine. Every life, a whole world. We must end this war now and begin the hard work of peace and reconstruction from Palestine to Baltimore. Our Senator, Ben Cardin, is the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Throughout his career, he has unapologetically enabled Israeli violence and the forceful suppression of voices calling for a free Palestine. Ben Cardin carried an AIPAC bill to silence criticism of the State of Israel. You know, it's been almost 15 years, Ben, but I got to know you a bit at the wedding of your nephew, Delegate John Cardin, while I was interning for him in Annapolis. We sat down for Seder once, and I still remember chatting with Myrna, delightful and charming as always, while you were busy making matzah brai. Senator Cardin, we, the Jewish people, would like a word about democracy, and trust we will be sitting down to speak at your office very soon. Senator Chris Van Hollen, you have often spoken out against injustices and violence perpetrated by the Israeli regime. Ceasefire now is our demand. What are you waiting for? Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
My people, I come from a place of love with an understanding of our history, of my history, as the descendant of Jews from Russia, Poland, Lithuania, and Belgium who came to the U.S. as refugees fleeing violent persecution and pogroms like we saw at the airport in Dagestan just a few days ago. We are presented by a challenge from Rabbi Hillel in Pirkei Avot. If I am not for myself, who will be for me? But if I am only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? Yesterday, the IDF bombed the Jabalia refugee camp in Gaza, killing and wounding hundreds of refugees. My people, our Jewish ancestors fleeing persecution did not sacrifice for the Zionist state to slaughter refugees. We the Jewish people believe that a thriving, flourishing global Jewish community across the diaspora and alongside the Palestinian people in the Holy Land will find safety and comfort in the movement for Palestinian liberation. I stand with my black and Palestinian comrades in raising my voice as a Jewish person in America and as a constituent of Congressman Kwesi Mfume to demand ceasefire now and his support for Cori Bush and Rashida Tlaib's ceasefire resolution in the People's House of Representatives. I was born in Baltimore, raised in Pikesville, became a bar mitzvah at Bethel Synagogue. Ringing in my ears, I hear the voice of my first grade teacher at Bethel Hebrew School. Never again to the Jewish people. We stand in solidarity and in community and with the majority in Baltimore, and we believe across the human race, to demand an immediate, unconditional ceasefire. Together, we move toward a place without occupation, without apartheid, and without genocide, and we demand our elected officials join us there. Today, we also say never again to the Palestinian people. Never again to any people. Ceasefire now. Free Palestine. If not now, when?
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Do we want a ceasefire? Yes! Do we want Baltimore to know that we want a ceasefire? Yes! Do we want our representatives to know that we want a ceasefire? Yes! Let's march to the Baltimore streets and let them know! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Let's march and let's call for a ceasefire now!
So
Does anybody want to hold a banner?
I'm Jaisal Noor for The Real News. We are at Baltimore's Penn Station, where there's about 300 people gathered here, maybe more, demanding for an immediate ceasefire and an end to U.S. funding for the Israeli occupation of the Palestinians. The march is about to get underway in a few minutes. We're going to hear from more speakers and talk to more people.
We're going to gather up over here. We're going to march
Talk to
down
more
St. Paul
people.
Street.
Go ahead and cast it. Come right here!
Free, free Palestine!
End the occupation now!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine! End the occupation now! End the occupation now! No more weapons! No more weapons! No more war! Peace is what we're fighting for! No more weapons! No more war! Yeah. Ceasefire is what we're fighting for! No more weapons!
Okay?
No more war! Peace is what we're fighting for! No more weapons! No more war! Ceasefire is what we're fighting for!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
End the occupation now!
End the occupation now! Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Again, I'm Jaisal Noor reporting for The Real News. There's hundreds of activists gathered in Baltimore demanding a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas and an end for the funding of the Israeli occupation of the Palestinian territories. The march is about to get underway. We are marching down. We are leaving Penn Station in Baltimore and getting out onto St. Paul Street, a major thoroughfare. Police have blocked off traffic. It is rush hour, so if you're watching this at home, I'd avoid the area for now.
Ceasefire now! 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 Ceasefire
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire! Free, free Palestine! 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 From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Free, free Palestine! 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 Free, free Palestine!
So we have reached Mount Royal Street and St. Paul.
No peace! No peace!
Police have blocked off the intersection.
Shut it down! Down! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Slow down, slow down. Palestine! Free, free 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 Palestine! Stop right there, stop right there. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! I just want to catch up the back. Free, free Gaza! Go ahead, go ahead! Free, free Gaza!
Not another nickel, not another dime, not another cent on Israel's time. Not another nickel, not another dime.
We charge you with genocide!
You can't hide!
We charge you with genocide! We charge you with genocide!
You can't hide!
We charge you with genocide!
You can't hide!
We charge you with genocide!
Netanyahu, you can't hide!
We charge you with genocide!
Netanyahu, you can't hide!
We charge you with genocide!
Netanyahu, you can't hide!
We charge you with genocide!
Netanyahu, you can't hide!
We charge you with genocide!
Netanyahu, you can't hide!
We charge you with genocide!
Again, there are hundreds of people marching in Baltimore, calling for an immediate ceasefire to violence that has claimed close to 10,000 lives. Traffic is shut down on St. Paul Street. We're now passing Preston, going south.
That way! That way! That way!
End the occupation now! End the occupation now! Now! Justice! Now! Justice! Now! Justice! Now! Justice! Now! Justice! Now! Justice! Now! Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down!
End the occupation now! 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 You walk in your grandfather's church. End the occupation now!
How many people? Can anyone talk about that?
Ceasefire now! 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 Shut it down! Free, free Palestine!
So we are now passing Charlottesville in Mount Vernon, Baltimore City. There's about 300 people blocking traffic.
Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Gaza! Free, free Gaza! Ceasefire now! 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 End the occupation 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 now!
Get off our fucking land! Go fucking hell!
So again, we're in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm Jaisal Noor for the Real News Network. There's about 300, maybe more, pro-Palestinian demonstrators taking to the streets, demanding an immediate ceasefire and an end to U.S. support for the Israeli occupation. Right now there's a short march taking place, which we understand will be ending very soon, and there'll be some developments to share in a few minutes.
Justice! Now! Justice! Now! Justice! Now! Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
If we can't get it,
Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down! Free, free Palestine! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
So we've just arrived at the 7th Congressional District Office, where Representative Kwasi Mfume is the representative. For the last several weeks, activists have called on Mfume to support a ceasefire, and he has not done so.
Free Palestine! 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 Free Gaza! Free Gaza! Free Gaza! Can you hear me? Yes! Can you hear me in the back? Yes! The folks with the Palestinian flag, can you hear me? Yes! Alright, bring it in. Come a little closer. This is what's going on. We got 20 people inside Representative Mfume's office right now doing a sit-in. Mic check! Mic check! You want to know what's going on? Mic check! Do you want to know what's going on? Yes! Mic check! Mic check! Do you want to know what's going on? Yes! Do you want to know what's going on? Alright, let me repeat. There's 20 people inside Representative Mfume's office right now doing a sit-in. They're risking arrest. They're demanding Representative Mfume sign on to the ceasefire resolution introduced by Representative Cori Bush. They're representing a number of organizations and constituencies in the city. And we're going to rally here now and support them. Can you hear in the back? Can you hear in the back? We've got listen to the
Assalamu alaikum. Oh, shalom. Oh, peace to all that are here. It is so heartening to be with a group of people from all backgrounds, standing together, standing firm to say ceasefire now. It is great that we are all out on this windy day to stand in solidarity with the Palestinian people as they come under a genocidal attack supported by our tax dollars and our cowardly elected officials. I want to start by asking everybody just to take a moment of silence for the people who have lost their lives in the last month, because we are not going to forget all of the innocent people who have been slaughtered. So join me in a moment. We're here today because we refuse to remain in silence while ethnic cleansing and genocide are further committed in our name. If anyone here thinks that I'm exaggerating when I use the terms apartheid, war crimes, and genocide, I'm happy to share afterwards more information with those who are still not understanding that this is what is going on. But I know that we are all here today because we are disgusted at the role that the U.S. government, institution, and businesses are playing in supporting the ongoing atrocities. We do not want Israel so that can continue to commit war crimes in our name. We do not want our police forces trained by death squads. We do not want our economy built on dead Palestinian baby bodies. So join me in saying, ceasefire now. 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 And I am now. Ceasefire now. Impressed with the people inside doing this sit-in. So let's stand again in solidarity with the people, risking arrest now to let Kwesi Mfume know that it's not okay that the United States of America are supporting a genocidal rogue regime. Ceasefire now. Collective punishment, genocide, apartheid are crimes against humanity. They are the most egregious crimes against humanity. Yet, both Democrats and Republicans lack the courage and moral fiber to put an end to these atrocities. Every unthinkable act of violence that we have witnessed in the past month is unquestionably a direct result of the historic injustice that the Palestinian people have endured and resisted for decades.
75 years.
And so I want to say, in no uncertain terms, that the only reason we are here today, gathered in this square, is that there are Palestinians living, resisting in their historic homeland right now as we speak. And the only reason they are still here alive is due to the mighty and incredible resistance and resilience on all fronts. All fronts, most especially cultural resistance, nonviolent resistance, spiritual resistance, psychological resistance. The Palestinian people are heroes. They're giants. The people of Gaza have faced the most impossible impression that none of us can ever begin to imagine. And yet, they have maintained their humanity in the face of extermination, backed by the world's colonial powers. Before I end, I'd like to share a poem. I wrote these words during Operation Cast Lead against Gaza in 2008-2009, when George Bush's 8 years in office were ending. The context for the beginning of the poem was that the Iraq War led by George Bush, Donald Rumsfeld, and Dick Cheney was still happening, an illegal, immoral war that claimed millions of lives and wreaked horror and destruction. Many of you were around, many of you remember the Iraq War. in 2008-2009, Barack Obama was just about to take office and was giving a green light for the horrific massacres in Gaza that ensued in Operation Cast Lead. This poem speaks about the arrival of Obama, but it doesn't matter, as we've seen, who is in office. The support for state-sponsored terror has never wavered. And now we have another Democrat in the White House, same system, different mask. We now call him Genocide Joe.
Genocide Joe!
And if our representative Kwesi Mfume doesn't stand with us, then it'll be Genocide Kwesi Mfume as well, I'm sorry to say. Some continuity after 8 Bush years. There were many secrets that weren't secrets, many lips filled with lies. Our eyes began to slide down our faces until finally they were hidden in the toes of our shoes. It was easy to see we had arrived at a low point. Then arrived a savior on a steed, a man whose brand was hope, a shining man whose measured words floated to the surface of 20 generations of tyranny, who inspired millions to believe that America could change. Never has such an eloquent speaker been so silent as when the bombs began to fall on Gaza, our Gaza. But bombs don't fall, leaves fall, rain falls, snow, the Dow Jones Industrial Average falls. Bombs are delivered on satellite-guided missions from us, the U.S. of us, to cut down the most innocent, the most deprived. It's been refined since before 1492, using brutality to subdue people who refuse and refuse and refuse to comply with the order that might makes right. We saw craters that used to be homes, scars that were schools, ruins that were once safety zones, white phosphorus burns on the face of such beautiful people. Crushed skulls, fingers, legs, bones, children decapitated in rubble, babies cradled in the arms of corpses that were their mothers. And if we don't see, we're not looking. And if we don't understand, we're not thinking. And if we claim equal blame between victor and victim, colonizer and colonized, occupier and occupied, we don't deserve a new president. America, pull your eyes from your socks and put them back in your sockets. Stop waiting for someone to arrive to save us from this disgrace. Stop waiting for someone to save us from this disgrace of Gaza, John Brown Gaza, Nat Turner Gaza, Mandela Gaza, Gray Gaza, poor Gaza, Warsaw Gaza, wounded Gaza, outgunned Gaza, Geronimo Gaza, the last war of King George, the first war of this new president, riding on his white horse. Thank you. And let's end with a chant for the people inside, for the people who are here, for the people in Gaza, for the people in Palestine, for the people who are so tired of seeing so much suffering that is needless. Free, free Palestine.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
Long live Palestine!
Long live Palestine!
Long live Palestine!
Help me in welcoming Father Ty, progressive Catholic faith leader and community activist.
Friends and comrades, it's sad that we have to be here, but being here we have to be. And in solidarity and in support of our siblings inside who are doing civil disobedience, something that is totally civil and disobedient because we have a higher obedience, an obedience to what is right, what is moral, what is sane, what is ethical, what promotes the dignity of every human person, without exception, without any exceptions. The leader of my faith, Pope Francis, said just a few hours, a few days ago, reminding us again, the world, war is always a failure. Always. Always. No one will win this war. Too many lives have already been lost. We're here to demand an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The Palestinian people deserve no less. The fighting has to stop. The bombing, the shelling, destruction of Gaza has to stop now. Every hour that passes, the human tragedies, but actually the human rights violations just continue to grow and escalate. We know entire generations of families are dying in this war, in this hellscape.
Shame.
Shame. Today, my church's calendar, today's supposed to be a festive day of joy. It's the Feast of All Saints, a time when we're supposed to remember all those good people who went before us. Many of them were just named. You can be of any faith. Just being a good person is good enough for us. Doing the good work of walking together to fight every single injustice where it matters. Tomorrow is another day. It's like a 48-hour day. All Saints Day today. El Dia de los Muertos tomorrow, Day of the Dead, All Souls Day. There are too many souls that are going to have to be honored, mourned, and lost in these days and these hours. And if this does not stop, it will just continue. This escalation is insane. There's only one sane response. There's only one ethical response. There's only one moral response. There's only one response of conscience, and that is to stop the fighting, stop the shelling and destruction of Gaza, turn back on water, electricity, all of the life-saving needs of every human person. What's happening is catastrophic. It's beyond, actually, I think, sometimes words. And yet we are going to struggle to find the right words. And they might be words of poems. They might be words of chants. They might be songs. They might be pleas. They might be cries. They might be yells. Cease fire now.
Cease fire now! Cease fire now! Cease fire now! Cease fire now!
I just want to say, too, there is a tiny, small Catholic community in Gaza. At least there was. I'm praying that they're still there. One church in North Gaza. The name of that church is dedicated to the Holy Family. It breaks my heart to know that there are so many holy families who have lost their lives in Gaza, so many Palestinian families that are no more, so many who might be the 1, 2, or only 3 survivors of their entire family line, who are beyond mourning. In this hour of destruction, we have to just turn to all the holy, or all that we hold sacred, or all that we hold right and honorable and just, and continue to cry till we can't cry any louder, till we can no longer speak. Cease fire now.
Cease fire now!
Cease fire now.
Cease fire now!
Representative Mfume, you have the power to scream in the halls of Congress, cease fire now. You have the power to call the other people back in government to tell Israel to cease fire now.
Cease fire now!
Not another dime, not another nickel.
No more genocide! Crimes!
Friends, colleagues, I also want to call out, I know that there are many siblings in labor, both organized and unorganized. Everybody in this community, everybody in this city, in this region, well, not everybody. We know who we are, and we know who's with us, and it is the vast, vast multitude of Baltimoreans. We'll continue this march, this struggle. We'll continue to chant down these hymns, these songs, these stories of justice until peace reigns throughout Gaza, throughout the West Bank, and in Palestine, Israel, and every single place on this planet. Friends, let's not give up.
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Our people are still in there! They're still saying, please, cease fire now!
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 Cease fire now! Cease fire
Thank you, Shorty. Greetings, family. It's with a heavy heart we all come out here today. But it is, I can't help but say how beautiful it is to see Baltimore standing up in solidarity with Palestine once again. This is in accordance with every major city across the country, day after day, week after week. It's tragedy that brings us here. It's atrocities that bring us here. By Israel. That's right, that's right. The genocide being committed in Gaza, the occupation of Palestine as a whole, the genocide being committed against Palestinians, it is our duty here in Baltimore to stand up and say, we stand with Palestine. We stand with Palestine. Until all of Palestine is free.
Until all of Palestine is free.
From the river to the sea.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free.
And those are the chants that we screamed marching through the streets back in 2014 when marched right through this whole area. Thousands of people came out in the streets in Baltimore. It inspired us to reignite Baltimore Palestine Solidarity as an organization. This was probably the second or third iteration of such an organization here in Baltimore. The last time was 2008, 2009, during the last major siege on Gaza. And in 2014, the summer of 2014, we did it again. And we decided we wanted to be less reactive to the atrocities. We wanted to be ready because we know what the settler colonial state of Israel brings with it. Destruction, terror, death, murder. Because all of this is part and parcel of genocide, which is the ultimate goal. And we decided we don't want to be reactive to every little atrocity. We wanted to be prepared for the next one because we knew it was coming. Later that summer, we saw Ferguson rising up in response to the death and murder of Mike Brown at the hands of the Ferguson police. And during that time, tear gas was being used. It was the same tear gas being used in the West Bank. So Palestinians started to tweet out, those of us here in the U.S., how to deal with this tear gas. And in our struggles here, Palestinians saw themselves in the militarization, the occupation of our cities. 2015, with the murder of Freddie Gray, our city rose up. And once again, Palestinians saw in us themselves, sent messages of solidarity. Sent messages of solidarity from Gaza. You understand? These aren't just, we're not just making these connections on our own. Palestinians themselves on the ground are making these connections, seeing us in them. And so it's beautiful to see that continued solidarity, that continued, it's beautiful to hear that too. This non-stop struggle for Palestinian freedom. Excuse me, sorry, I'm collecting my thoughts a little bit, but we're here again. We're here again, standing outside of Congressman Mfume's office. We talk about Israel as an apartheid state quite often. So does talks about how it's not, how it's nothing compared to South African apartheid. What do we say to that? That's right. That's right. Because Nelson Mandela himself, someone Kwesi Mfume looked to as a hero, he saw in the Palestinian struggle for justice, freedom, and liberation his own struggle. Until the day he died, he remained committed to the Palestinian people as well. That's right. Kwesi Mfume talks about the connection. You know, a lot of Jewish, anti-Zionist Jewish voices are out here today. And thank you so much. Thank you so much. Kwesi Mfume talks a lot about the connection between the Jewish and black communities. But with that, he necessitates Zionism as a as a mandatory step towards that unity. That's our names, because he represents all of us. You know what I'm saying? We within the black and Jewish communities, we have a long legacy, a long storied history together.
400 years.
Because that legacy is bound by justice and the struggle for justice with the Freedom Riders and SNCC and the NAACP, which he represented for a long time. That's our legacy. That's the connection that Jewish and black people have together. You know, in tearing down our own apartheid system that existed here in this state and across the rest of this is Upper South, but the rest of the U.S. South. We had an apartheid state here that was brought down by our united struggle for justice, freedom, and liberation. And so, with that being said, let our anti-Zionist Jewish brothers and sisters, everyone in between and beyond, and the black community lock arms with our Palestinian sisters, brothers, everyone between and beyond, and step forward and continue to struggle for freedom, liberation, and justice, and reparations. All of it, all of it, all of it, until we get it. And in the words of Nelson Mandela, we know too well that without the freedom of Palestinians. Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Thank you. We've got folks. You're sitting with
Thank you. Peace, everybody. So as a professor at Morgan State, where for some of you Mfume is your rep and he is the chair of our Board of Regents, as also the son of a European Jew whose mother herself was born in Palestine but who left with the feelings of Zionist betrayal to only join the communist and labor movements in Brooklyn, and also the son of an African-descended black man who, with a sense of capitalist and white supremacist betrayal, engaged the black liberation struggle. And even stopping along the way to sire my half-brother who helped build the mosque here in Baltimore for the Nation of Islam. Shout out to Jamil Muhammad. To this discussion. And it is in the spirits of those traditions that I join with you today. So as we gather here in solidarity, in part to call on Congressman Mfume to call to support a ceasefire, we can see that in the Jewish Insider, to the point that Brother Nick just mentioned, in July of 2021, that Brother Mfume suggested that those who in the black struggle who call for solidarity with Palestine are, quote, opportunists who wanted to create several different agendas, end quote. But he was right. We do want a different agenda. We do have different agendas. Agendas that are not bent on colonization, capitalism, and genocide. We do want energies overseas and down these streets toward ending police violence that Malcolm X reminded us was merely the domestic application of a military agenda exported globally. We do want right, as is health care, the right to collective bargaining for workers, and more. In other words, we do. Similarly, as Brother Nick, the same article can be read as saying that those who would not, that he would not support the BDS movement against Israel, boycott, divest, sanction, as he had done so for the apartheid state of South Africa previously, because what is occurring in Palestine, he said, quote, has not risen, in my opinion, to the level that the hundreds of years of oppression by the Afrikaners in South Africa against the indigenous population, which was the majority, has not risen to that level, end quote. So then are we to understand that those who rose up in the first 75 years of your are undeserving of solidarity? Or because of some false construction of a minority status that black people here only recently crossed that timeline demarcation? Are we to understand that the Palestinians should now endure this genocide for another 250 years before we raise our voices? No one truly conversant with the black liberation movement or radical tradition would be so confused as to understanding why we are here and why we must raise our fists and voices. But I'll leave that explanation to that of others here, but end in the metaphor that is the finding of the Palestinian thought and poetry in the jail cell of a hero of the Black Revolution, George Jackson. So I'll close with one of those poems that was found in George Jackson's cell after his assassination in August of 1971, written by Sami Al-Qasim, titled Enemy of the Sun. Apologies. I may, if you wish, lose my livelihood. I may sell my shirt and bed. I may work as a stone cutter, a street sweeper, a porter. I may clean your stores or rummage your garbage for food. I may lie down hungry, O enemy of the sun, but I shall not compromise. And to the last pulse in my veins I shall resist. You may take the last strip of my land, feed my youth to prison cells. You may plunder my heritage, you may burn my books, my poems, or feed my flesh to the dogs. You may spread a web of terror on the roofs of my village, O enemy of the sun, but I shall not compromise, and to the last pulse in my veins I shall resist. You may deprive me of my mother's kisses, you may curse my father, my people, you may distort my history. You may deprive my children of a smile and of life's necessities. And you may fool my friends with borrowed face. That line is bars. You may fool my friends with borrowed face. Oh, you shameful. You may build walls of hatred around me. You may glue my eyes to humiliations, O enemy of the sun. But I shall not compromise. And to the last pulse in my veins I shall resist, O enemy of the sun. The decorations are raised at the port. The ejaculations fill the air. A glow is seen, challenging the wind and the depths. It is Ulysses returning home from the sea of loss. It is the return of the son of my exiled ones, and for her I shall not my veins. I shall resist, resist, and resist. Free Palestine. Them all. Peace if you're willing to. Thank you very much. Free Palestine.
They're bringing the cops around to the side of the building because they don't want to listen to us.
around. If you're like me, my heart's pounding a little fast, I'm feeling cold. We're talking about things that are quite literally life and death, and I just want you to notice that you're not here by yourself. So if you can just turn around. My name is Rabbi Ariana Katz, and I am deeply moved and honored to be with you this afternoon. I'm honored to join with you as we call out in defense of Palestinian life. Say that with me. In defense of Palestinian life. I'm honored to join with you as we call out for ceasefire. Say ceasefire with me. Ceasefire! I am honored to join with you as we mourn and as we pray for mercy. Say mercy with me. Mercy! Ana Adonai Hoshiana. Please, God, deliver us. Save us. I want to begin by extending my condolences, my deepest condolences to anyone present who has lost loved ones in this most recent war. Those of you who have immediate family and friends in Israel and Palestine have experienced this last month in a surreal reality different from anyone who does not have loved ones on the ground. Your pain, your excruciating worry is not invisible to us. Ana Adonai Hoshiana. And to those of us here who hold this fear and worry deep in our bones, that pulses in our veins, that covers us like a second skin, this rage, this grief, this old family story of inevitable violence and extinction, Jews and Palestinians alike, you are not invisible to us. And you are here now. You are on the ground. The sky is above you, and we are all together. We are calling out for peace, for an end to vengeance and death. Ana Adonai Hoshiana. Please, God, deliver us. On the morning of October 7th, I woke up to an email on Shabbat, I know, from a Catholic priest colleague telling me that he was praying for me. I turned on the news, and the world stopped. And later that morning, I passed by a real estate sign that I had seen the night before, but this morning it was defaced. It was covered in anti-Semitic slurs, and the face of the presumably Jewish real estate agent was scribbled out. And I crumpled into fear. I was immobilized for a moment, consumed by fear. This was the future they promised me, a dark and frightening time when escape plans were necessary and allies would be hard to find. The news continued to pour out, and I read on the list of dead the name of someone whose mother named him the same name as the one that I chose for my son. We learned of over 230 Israeli captives, and we watched the violence continue and head to a total of 1,400 precious human souls killed by Hamas. 1,400 precious human souls. I spent hours on the phone with family, mostly in silence. And I wept not only for the death of Israelis, but I braced myself for the vengeance that was to be unleashed on the citizens of Gaza. This was it. The dam would break. We knew it. And so it has. In the last 3 weeks, over 8,000 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza, 40% of whom are children. In the last 3 weeks, over 8,000 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza, 40% of whom are children. Over 8,000 Palestinians have been killed, all who were someone's child. On Monday night at a vigil organized by If Not Now, we heard just a fraction of the names of children killed in Gaza and in Israel. My breath hitched when I heard the last name Simintov. It means a good sign. And then in the next beat, again I stumbled, a child whose last name was Ramadan, the holy month of prayer and community. My heart is slamming out of my chest, and I was very, very worried to share these remarks with you all today, because the death-dealing war machine that asks us to choose whose life is worth more, whose death is worthy of mourning, whose grief is most palatable, who deserves brutality, starvation, who deserves to mourn their child, who deserves to fear what each night will bring, who deserves a safe place to live, who deserves a homeland, who deserves freedom from genocide. But we need not choose. We only need to carry one another through the overwhelming pain that we are being called to witness. Perhaps it would be easier to narrow our focus on only one stream of pain, to not see this death as interconnected. And the graffiti that crumbled me on October 7th, the easy slips to anti-Semitic tropes by those crying out for an end to the bombardment of Gaza, targeting Jews and Judaism instead of those who wage, fund, and support this war, we also must resist and speak out against it. We need not choose Palestinian liberation or standing against anti-Semitism. Ana Adonai Hoshiana. Please, God, deliver us and save us. Make no mistake about it, what we are witnessing on the ground in Gaza is genocide. Raz Siegel, an Israeli expert in modern genocide, called Israel's assault on Gaza a textbook case of intent to commit genocide, and its rationalization of its violence a shameful use of the lessons of the Holocaust. Israeli state exceptionalism and comparisons of its Palestinian victims to Nazis are used to justify, rationalize, deny, distort, and disavow mass violence against Palestinians. So he wrote, the UN Genocide Convention lists 5 acts that fall under its definition. Israel is currently perpetrating 3 of these in Gaza. 1. Killing members of the group. 2. Causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group. 3. Deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part. To my Jewish community, to the government of Israel, how dare we? How dare we stand by while this can happen? The last 3 weeks have seen a second chapter in the Nakba, this time a mass displacement of more than 1 million people. Gazans are being kept from their funeral rites, unable to unearth the bodies of loved ones, unable to find graves to bury any more loved ones alone. Instead, they are opening up family plots to bury their dead loved ones with them. We are witnessing the continuation of the Nakba that began 75 years ago, and Israeli officials are saying as much out loud. What we are witnessing is an attempt at genocide, and so we rise up in a united voice to say, not in our name, not in our name, not in our name. Ana Adonai Hatzlichana. Please, God, let us prosper. So we are present here today, outside Representative Kwesi Mfumi's office, to ask him to join us, to represent us in calling for a ceasefire in Gaza, to end U.S. military aid to the Israeli government in order to end this merciless bombardment of Gaza, to open a humanitarian corridor to get medical supplies, food, water to the people of Gaza. To my family, to my extended Jewish community, to the institutional Jewish community, to everyone who is claiming that calling for ceasefire is tantamount for calling for Israeli surrender, to dishonoring the lives of Israelis who were so brutally killed, we say no. No, we call for ceasefire to defend life. We know that more death cannot bring back the dead. We know we must not act from our grief to call for vengeance. We know that we cannot stand by while genocide is being done in our name. Ana Adonai Hoshiana, Ana Adonai Hoshiana. Please, God, deliver us and save us. Ana Adonai, comfort all who mourn. Ana Adonai, free Palestine. Ana Adonai, let mercy and peace rain down. Bimhera b'yameinu, soon and in our days. Cease fire now. Cease fire now. Cease fire now. Cease fire now. Ana Adonai hatzlichana. Everybody, let me welcome you to Reverend Heber Brown, pastor and progressive leader.
Peace, everybody. It's great to be with you today. Even under these terrible conditions and circumstances, I too, like others have shared, I'm warmed, I'm encouraged, and I'm emboldened to join in this important moment. For me, I connected to this issue of occupation in Palestine, Israel 13 years ago, and I see so many of you who have been great teachers and comrades along the way in this journey. I was so skeptical of what corporate media in this country was saying about occupation that I decided to go see myself. I joined with the group called Interfaith Peace Builders, and I went, they're now called Eyewitness Palestine, and I went and I shared in an experience where I learned far more in going to see for myself than I could ever learn in a textbook or from the news here in this country. I saw with my own eyes what segregation and apartheid looked like on the ground. I saw with my own eyes and experienced personally occupation forces separating me from the rest of the delegation because I was the only black man in the group, and at every checkpoint I was put to the side and questioned and interrogated about why I was there and what I was doing. I felt that personally. And since that time to this, I've committed myself to be a voice among the chorus. Never feeling like I could do everything by myself, but fighting the feeling of powerlessness. To say maybe by myself I can't do much, but if my voice is combined with others, together we can make a difference. So in this moment, I stand fully and firmly in the tradition of the black freedom struggle and the black liberation struggle. And for more than 400 years, my ancestors have been on these yet to be United States, organizing for freedom and liberation. I'd like to call forth some of the names of my ancestors, freedom fighters who've gone before me, who I believe are standing with me and with us in this particular moment. I lift up the name of Ella Baker. I call the name of Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer. I call the name of Malcolm X. I call the name of Reverend Vernon Johns. And I call the name of so many others who've gone before me, and they modeled a way for me. They showed me. They taught me that there's come moments when you got to put your neck on the line and raise your voice for what you know is right. They also remind me that this is a marathon. When I was a little boy, I was very proud that I was the fastest boy in the neighborhood. I loved running fast but short races against those in the neighborhood. But the older I become, the more I realize that in the fight and the quest for freedom and liberation and justice, it's not the 40-yard dash that we need. It's the marathon runners. And so I just want to applaud and appreciate those of you who've been running the marathon for justice for a long time. Many of your faces I recognize because we were there together in 2015 during the Baltimore uprising. We were there together when our dear brother Tyrone West was killed by the Baltimore City Police Department, and Anthony Anderson and so many others. We were there together protesting at the White House against the war in Iraq. We were there together down through the years. And as I look out on the crowd, we're still here. Maybe a little bit grayer, but we're still here. A little bit older, but we're still here. We're still pushing. We're still moving forward. So I want to say thank you for those of you who've been running the marathon. And for those of you who are new to the struggle, welcome to the family. For some of y'all, it's the first time you've ever done anything like this. And perhaps you're standing here saying it sure is cold out here. But here is what I pledge and promise to you. That in the days, months, and years to come, you will not remember the temperature. You will not remember the breeze or the wind. You will not remember how cold you were. You will remember that you stood here and you were together raising your voice for justice with so many others who were here as well. This is a powerful mobilization. But what we need to continue to remember is that you need mobilization and organization. My great teacher, one of my great teachers, ancestor Kwame Ture, talked about the power of mobilization, but also organization. And so can I charge and challenge us today? Even as we stand in this moment, let me speak to the fact that there will be future moments. And what we do after today can help to build the infrastructure that and relationships that we need, so that the next time we're not just on defense, but we can play some offense along the way.
Let's go!
Let me lift up a couple things, I'll be out of your way. Listen, offense is needed. 6 months from now is the primary election in the state of Maryland. The congressional election is coming up in 6 months. And at that time, we get a chance to put Palestinian liberation on the ballot. You get a chance to make it a campaign issue. And so my question is, will we still be around 6 months from now? When it's time for us to vote, when it's time for us to put our money on the line and put our money in the movement, will we still be around? Will we be around when corporate media changes our focus to something else, to what some celebrity is wearing or who is dating who? Will we still be around? When the newspapers don't write about occupation anymore, will we still be around? When it's not on Instagram no more, on everybody's pages, will we still be around? I'm just here to tell you it's a marathon for justice. And I want you to be in a position to run the marathon and not just the sprint. I'm going to pass it to my brother now. For those of us in the black freedom struggle, we know that in every movement for liberation, music is always in the picture. You need some music in the movement. You need some spirit in the movement. Please be clear. Facts, stats, and figures are wonderful. But you need something that speaks to your spirit. Because when it gets tough and when it gets hard and when you got to cry and when you face the brutalities that you see of our Palestinian sisters and brothers on the screen and children in Israel on the screen every day, you need something that makes your heart pump up a little bit stronger. And so I asked my brother to come to just sing a song today to put us in the same spirit that my ancestors gathered when they got together and had to stand before the dogs and had to stand before police officers and had to stand against a government that wanted nothing more than their annihilation. They dared to come together and keep on singing. And so I want my brother to come here. He's going to give us a word. But listen, before he comes, just remember, we got a marathon to run. And we got some work to do. We got some work to do. We got to stitch together our movements to see the ways that they are connected. Please be clear. For instance, I work on the issue of food apartheid, and you better recognize that food apartheid connects to the issue of occupation in Palestine. But others work on other issues like climate change and climate chaos, you better recognize it connects to the issue of occupation in Palestine. We got to get to a place where we see our passions connected, and if our passions are connected, our organizing should be connected. This should not be the first or last time you see my face, nor I yours. Because what we are up against is global. What we are up against shows its ugly head, its spiritual wickedness in high places all over the land. We need to have a same kind of force that's connected, that's diverse, that's inclusive, that's courageous, and that will stick its neck out for those issues that not only you care about, but the issues that the person next to you cares about as well, until we have a subsequent group that's big enough to challenge the Goliath in front of us. So let me say ceasefire now. But don't just stop there. Let's end the occupation. But don't just stop there. We got to also remember our sisters and brothers in the Sudan, and our sisters and brothers in the Congo, and our sisters and brothers on the African continent. Because if we're going to be real about liberation and justice, it's got to go from continent, from community, to neighborhood, to people all over the land. You just remember that what we stand together in unity for those who want freedom in Palestine, we also must stand for our sisters and brothers in the Sudan, in the Congo, in Baltimore, in Gary, Indiana, in Flint, Michigan, in Jacksonville, Florida, and all over the country. My brother Roderick is coming down to lead us in a song that we might continue in this marathon for justice and freedom.
God bless you. God bless you.
Oh, Paul and Silas, bound in jail, had no money for to go their bail. Oh, keep your eyes on the prize and hold on. Why don't you hold on? Paul and Silas thought they was lost. A dungeon shook and the chains came off. Oh, keep your eyes on the prize and hold on. Why don't you hold on? Oh, hold on. Oh, hold on. Oh, keep your eyes on the prize and hold on. Why don't you hold on? The chain that man can stand is that chain of hand in hand. Oh, keep your eyes on the prize and hold on. Why don't you hold on? Only thing that I regret was the time that I was lost. Oh, keep your eyes on the prize and hold on. Why don't you hold on? Hold on. Oh, hold on. Oh, keep your eyes on the prize and hold on. Why don't you? Can you say it one more time? Help me. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, keep your eyes on the prize and hold on. We gotta say that one more time. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, keep your eyes on. Oh, keep your eyes on. Oh, keep your eyes on the prize and hold on. Why don't you hold on?
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! I'm gonna welcome up Jay Gillen, one of the founders of the Algebra Project.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jay Gillen. We have to make sacrifices, and mine is getting to speak after Pastor Brad. I work with the Baltimore Algebra Project students in Baltimore, and
stand to the right.
Sorry.
Put the mic close to your face. Stay right there.
And we're an organization that comes from the tradition of Ella Baker and SNCC and our founder Bob Moses, who some of you might know. And when young people ask, well, what are we doing in this algebra project in Baltimore, the answer is we're trying to stop the killing. And people wonder about what that means. And you know, you have to think we're in Baltimore. This is Baltimore. Kwesi Mfume is our representative for Baltimore, Baltimore City, where we try to stop the killing, where we try to stop the violence. Every day, everybody working for peace is trying to stop killing in Baltimore. And we have to convince this man to have a ceasefire? What sense is there that we're asking for such a mild demand as a ceasefire? Pastor Brown said, end the occupation. Pastor Brown said, justice in all the continents. Pastor Brown said, justice across the country, across the world. And we're just asking for a ceasefire, which is something that we ask for in Baltimore every day. And I suppose that what the congressman would like us to do is when one of our students comes to us in school and says he's got a beef with somebody, or even he says one of his relatives got shot, we say, oh, we'll go and shoot the person. Are we supposed to say that? Are we supposed to say, oh, he's hiding in his house? Are we supposed to say, set his house on fire? It's insane. It's insane that we're asking this mild demand for a ceasefire of this congressman who knows better. Pastor Brown said that, or one of the speakers said, I think it was Nick, who gave such a great speech, said that the congressman thinks that things haven't risen to the level where he can call for support for BDS, or we can call for a ceasefire, we can call what's happening in apartheid. It's insane. What's happening in Baltimore is murder. We know it is. We know who's responsible for it. What's happening in Palestine is murder. We know it is. We know who's responsible for it. Congressman Mfume better get his act together, or we better get ours together and get him out of office. Thank you.
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
They're still in there! They're still asking to talk to our representative, and they're still being told no! I'm gonna welcome up Mark Steiner! I think some of you might know who he is.
All right, it's cold. An amazing crowd for a cold day, because we're here for one reason. One of those reasons is ceasefire now. And there's no reason not to have a ceasefire. What we have to do here now is have our United States Congress say no to Israel until the violence stops. Let me give you a little personal story. This is not just politics to me. This is part of my heart and my life. I'll give you my grandmother, who we in Yiddish call Bubby, was from Poland. And the story I grew up with, when the Cossacks came and attacked her village and rode through the village, she was running home with her little sister's hand. The little sister was 6 years old. The Cossack leaned over from his horse and lopped off her little sister's head while she was holding her hand. Those are traditions many of us in the Jewish world in my generation grew up with. Now, if we can keep that in our hearts and head, we can keep in our hearts and head that what's happened to Palestinians in the Holy Land is wrong. And has to end.
Ceasefire now!
A ceasefire can happen. Those kibbutzim that were attacked by Hamas is where my family lives. People on those kibbutzim who were killed were my relatives. They were left-wing Israelis who were fighting for peace. Those are the contradictions that exist in this world. I was on the phone with people in Ramallah today to bring them on our show. A friend of mine's cousin was shot by a rubber bullet. Another cousin was killed. So it's that close to all of us here. It's close to Baltimore. And we have an opportunity here, because this crowd, these people here now, look around you, who we are. We're white, we're black, we're Palestinians, we're Jews, we're Christians, we're Muslims, we're Asians. We're all here together with one voice, one heart, one mind. Ceasefire now. It has to end. There has to be a new future for Palestine, Israel. When I was in 1968, I was in Cuba. And I brought a poster home. And the poster had a picture of all of the Holy Land. One side of it was a flag of Palestine. On the other side was a flag of Israel. And down the front it said, one state, two peoples, three faiths. Some form of that has to become a reality. And it's our job to lobby people like who have this office in the U.S. Congress to say there has to be a different way. We cannot allow this to happen. And those of us in the Jewish world, there's a whole movement of us out there, millions of us, saying, not in our name. Not in our name. Not in our name.
Not in our name.
We cannot allow this to happen. The tragedy that happened when Hamas attacked was horrendous. But the response? 8,000 people murdered? Hardly any of them Hamas, well, some were Hamas fighters, mostly not. There were men, women, children, little babies. So when people post the little babies that were killed on the kibbutzim, my response is yes. And right next to them, I start putting the pictures of the thousands of Palestinian children killed in response. It has to end. And it has to end now. There can be a future. And I really do believe that. I've been fighting against the occupation since 1968. And it didn't happen overnight. In 1967, I went to the Israeli embassy to volunteer to fight in the Israeli army. And then I started meeting left-wing Israelis. Then I started meeting Palestinians. Then something started happening in my head. And I started seeing a different reality. So since that time, it's no. I mean, the idea, I've had these arguments over the last 2 weeks now with people I've known in the Jewish world for a long time. And the arguments get really insane. And you start talking about how Israel is threatened with existence, and I keep trying to remind them how many Palestinian children have had their arms broken. How many Palestinian children have been put in jail? How many Palestinians have been killed on the West Bank and in Gaza? It's madness, and it has to end. So, whoever you are, I think this particular moment is different. I think this particular moment and this particular war is different than other ones I've seen, been part of, looked at from the inside and out. There's something really, really happening here that's very different. And I think for the first time, people across the globe are standing up to say no, like I've never seen before. And for me, as someone who grew up with people with numbers on their arms,
Welcome
We didn't know how many people were coming out. We took a chance, we made a call, and the call was answered. Give yourselves a round of applause for that. So, we went in there, let our voices be heard, but Mfume wasn't there. All right? We talked to some staffers, we made some people upset. We got the chief of staff to sit down with us and say that he was listening. He said that, you know what? We think that Mfume's heard you, and we said, no, he hasn't. We said, well, no, he's heard us when he gets on the right side of history and calls for a ceasefire. He said, there's a process. And my comrade said something beautiful. You can't respect the process when there's bombs falling on your head. People in Vietnam couldn't respect the process in order to end that war, right? People under apartheid in South Africa couldn't respect that process, right? People have to stand up and resist like we're doing right now, today. And I have to say, I've never, in the 20 plus years that I've been active on Palestine, seen these kinds of numbers. It's a beautiful thing. And Vale let them know that we'll be back. 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 That's right, y'all. Anybody else want to say a few words?
We oppressed right here in America in our black communities. So we share the same struggle. The same struggle. The militarization of our police department. The killing of our kids.
Exactly.
You killing black people every motherfucking day and ain't nobody say the goddamn thing.
That's right.
We dying out here. So I stand with Palestine.
Exactly. From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free.
Free, free Palestine. Long live Palestine.
Long live Palestine.
Free, free Palestine.
Free, free Palestine.
Long live Palestine.
All right, y'all. We are here. We came. They heard us. We'll be back. Let's march back to Penn Station.
Hey, how you doing? I need the banners up front. I need the banners up front.
Anybody want the whole
Are you off? You want to do a quick interview? Okay, this is the real news.
We did it again this weekend, bro. Ah, love seeing you again, man. Sounds so good. Feels so good.
So we're with Kevin. We're with Kevin, one of the protesters that was inside President Mfume's office. Can you introduce yourself? We heard your comments after you came out, but introduce yourself and talk about why you and 20 other people went inside and what your demands were.
Yeah, my name is Kevin James. I'm with Tubman House. Been in Baltimore for a minute, and we decided that we had to do something because Mfume wasn't. He's supposed to represent us, and he hasn't been. We looked him up on Open Secrets and found that his top contributors are pro-Israel. And we find that suspect, not because they're Israeli, but because his whole position right now, despite all this public pressure, has been not to sign on to Bush's resolution. And we know that he used to, back in the day, be opposed to apartheid. We were calling on Mfume to do that again, to get on the right side of history again. And yeah, we'll be back. He didn't show up, but we will, and we'll continue to do that.
Right, we are marching back to Penn Station.
No? You want them to die? Palestine will be free. 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 Whose streets? Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. If we don't get it, shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. Free, free Palestine. 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 Free, free Palestine.
I'm Jaisal Noor for The Real News. Today, hundreds of protesters marched to Rep. Kwasi Mfume's office. 20 people conducted a sit-in to demand Kwasi Mfume endorse a ceasefire. They weren't successful in reaching that demand, but they were heard and promised to be back. Thank you all for watching, and go to therealnews.com for more coverage of the ongoing protests against the Israeli assault on Gaza.